Welcome back to an all-new episode of Mystery and Murder, where we delve into some of the most infamous, headline-making true crime cases and uncover the psychology behind the perpetrators. Now, during our last episode, we talked about the origin story of Amy Carlson, also known as Mother God, the notorious cult leader who appeared on my show back in 2020, about a year prior to her death. Now today, we're pulling back the curtain on her so-called spiritual movement, Love Has Won, exposing the manipulative tactics, bizarre beliefs, and toxic control that took this group from a small circle of misfits to what, in my opinion, was an outright cult. Now, they disagree. They say, we're not a cult, we're just a group of people that love and care about people and want to share it with the world. I disagree. You'll witness the immense power Amy wielded and how the very forces she unleashed were spiraling toward an inevitable catastrophe. So at this point in the story, the Love Has Won cult is up and running. It's gaining members. But it's the entrance of a new key figure, a man named Jason Castillo, who becomes Amy's official Father God partner and sets the rest of her troubled life in motion. Now, by all accounts, Jason became Amy's other half. Starting in 2018, he was suddenly popping up on her live streams quite regularly. Tall, fit, and sporting a long ponytail, Jason had a quiet yet powerful aura about him. Now, he could often be seen sitting silently near Amy, watching her and smiling with admiration during her long-winded speeches. Now, a little bit on Jason's backstory. It's said that as a child, he had a keen interest in religion and the divine. Jason's father left the family when he was small, and Jason recalled that from the age of 3 years old, he felt like he had to step in and be the man of the house. In his early 20s, he made his way to Sacramento, where he met and stayed with a woman for 20 years, raising 4 of her children. Things started going off the tracks, however, when the family moved to Vegas. According to Jason's sister, that's when he started abusing drugs, specifically crystal meth. Beginning in 2013, Jason started exploring the Love Has Won network, and he got invested in their teachings. Those around him sensed he was going through a significant personal change. He was telling the people close to him that he had plans of ascending and that he now believed Jesus to be a woman. He had clearly fallen under Amy's spell. Now, by 2018, he was so committed to her and her word that he left his family. And remember, he had spent 20 years helping this woman raise her 4 children. But he bailed to join Amy in person. Now, when Jason and Amy joined forces, the cult's hierarchy was completely locked into place. Jason may have thought he had found salvation, but reeling in Jason was part of Amy's pattern. She identified people who would listen to her, revere her, and do her bidding, and she would latch on to them. As I said, the best predictor of future behavior is past relevant behavior, and Amy was always on the lookout for minions. Look, you have to understand how cult hierarchies function. These leaders are usually charismatic, or they have to command authority. That is a key component. What the leader says goes, and in a cult, you don't question the leader. There's just not any questioning. There's one clear leader, and that person sets all the rules, all the values, all the directions, everything. And then there's an inner circle. And for Amy, her right-hand man, we mentioned before, was Miguel Lamboy. We talked about him previously as being the one who turned this cult into a business. Then her new and final father God partner, Jason Castillo. A cult leader needs these seconds in command to handle the day-to-day operations and to enforce rules. And then at the bottom are the followers. These are the members of the group who idolize the leader and are meant to obey orders and never question the group's beliefs, actions, or the leader. They're the laborers at the bottom of the totem pole. If they step out of line, they can be punished or ostracized. And like I said, it all comes back to everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to belong. And because these are often people that have lost their way, they are misfits, and then they get love bombed into a group where they feel like this is my place, this is my last chance. They fear being ostracized, they fear being kicked out, so they'll do anything so they don't lose favor. What was it that this Love Has Won group believed exactly? To really understand it, we have to go through their principles. If you look at the organization's website now, which has been archived, the first thing that pops up on the main page is a large beaming photo of Amy wearing a flower crown with the Love Has Won logo featured in bright rainbow letters. It was designed to be enticing to viewers in search of peace. Now, you have to remember, these were mostly people that were recruited online. So your online presence has to be inviting and make any promise you need to make. Remember I said you got to have a lot of hooks in the water. So you make a lot of promises. You're not sure what somebody needs to hear, so you make a lot of promises hoping that it will catch somebody's eye. Maybe this promise catches this one, this promise catches this one, and you start reeling them in. Now, obviously, all of what Amy proclaimed was, in my opinion, just pure nonsense. But let's just break down some of her beliefs, and these beliefs are claims, really. These are Love Has Won beliefs. Amy insisted that she was a 19 billion, with a B, year-old being who had birthed all of creation. Now, wrap your head around that for a minute. 19 billion years old and had birthed every living being in the history of the world. She claimed to have been reincarnated 534 times, which really ain't much across 19 billion years. She claimed she was destined to lead 144,000 people into what she called the fifth dimension. Amy said that President Donald Trump was her father in a past life. Now, I don't know if she was bragging or confessing, but that's what she said. She claimed she was aided by celebrity angels, an eclectic crew that included Whitney Houston, Robin Williams, and Rodney Dangerfield. Amy's followers claimed she was a queen from the lost continent of Lemuria, and that the people of this lost land were now residing in Mount Shasta, California. You cannot make this stuff up, but obviously you can, because they did. Amy claimed to have performed over 100,000 quote-unquote surgeries and to have healed many people with cancer and other serious diseases and ailments. Now, okay, think about this for a minute. What has she really said that people can sink their teeth into? How do you fact check somebody being 19 billion years old? How do you fact check somebody doing 100,000 surgeries and curing diseases? I mean, they're just outrageous claims and statements. Who do you call? Do you Google up 19 billion year old people? They're just outrageous statements But when you try to cross-examine someone about them, when you try to dial into them, it's like, look, this transcends common knowledge. This transcends the worldly knowledge, so I don't expect you people to understand it. Coming up, this is a classic cult leader manipulation, creating an environment where everyone else is just a pawn in their game. Hey, Dr. Phil here. Your savings are at risk. With the economy on shaky ground, the dollar losing value, and a $2 trillion deficit, things could spiral. Don't wait for the worst. Take control of your financial future now. I trust Preserve Gold to safeguard my accounts, and I urge you to do the same. They're the only precious metals company I recommend. What are you going to do to protect what's yours? Claim your special offer and learn how to reinforce your financial future. Visit drphilgold.com to get your free precious metals guide from Preserve Gold. With gold prices recently breaking records and analysts predicting this trend to continue through 2025, you cannot afford to wait. As a bonus, you can get up to $15,000 with a qualified purchase from Preserve Gold. So don't wait. Visit drphilgold.com today. Have you checked your home title recently? Many homeowners never have, leaving themselves vulnerable. Scammers can steal your home title, forge your signature, and target your equity. Protect yourself from fraud before it's too late. Secure your title and your financial future today. You won't even know it's happened until it's too late. Ensure you're not a victim. Use promo code PHIL at HometitleLock.com to make sure your title is still in your name. You'll also get a free title history report, plus a free 14-day trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts to any change, and if fraud should happen, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. Go to HometitleLock.com now. Use promo code PHIL. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code PHIL. Initially, you might look at this group and think, okay, they're saying things that don't add up, but they're marching to the beat of their own drum. What's the harm in that? But as we dig deeper, it becomes alarmingly clear that the Love as One group wasn't just about unconventional beliefs. They were also known to propagate highly offensive, racist, and anti-Semitic ideologies. They were documented making disturbing and untruthful remarks in their live streams, including Holocaust denial and pro-Nazi statements. In addition, they allege terrible lies, stating that COVID-19 was a fake government conspiracy and that the horrific Sandy Hook massacre was a hoax. Now, we've all heard that. I mean, it's not totally original. I think Alex Jones would tell you that that became a very expensive belief that he was espousing. The beliefs this group was spreading online were beyond disturbing. And it was constant. This wasn't a group with a hidden agenda. They wanted to be on camera constantly and getting their word out. It was like they were the stars of their own reality show. They were on camera so often. And it was flat out appalling that they were putting statements like this out into the world and still managing to gain viewers and followers. When I interviewed Amy that day, I felt a responsibility to call out her hypocrisy. Here was a woman who preached about being a source of light, yet her actions told a very different story. Well, Amy joins us now via Skype, so welcome. I'm glad you're here to talk.
Hi. Love you, Dr. Phil.
So how are things?
They're very peaceful here at the moment.
Yeah. So things are often not peaceful around you because I've seen some of your streams. I've seen some of the things that, videos where you seem to be upset a lot, yelling and screaming and calling names and all. What is it that upsets you the most?
Well, a lot of those are taken out of context and not properly represented. However, where the upset comes from me is when, as I serve love every day, and I am in love in action every moment. That is my role. I've been like that since I was born, serving love. And a lot of the anger things, I suppose, if you call them that, or is it passion, comes out because I've been raped several times. I've been stolen from. They burned my house down. I've been come after so much. And it gets a little, you get a little weary. It's, keep living the truth and being the truth despite anything coming at me.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, a few things immediately jumped out at me. First, I noticed that Amy looked, well, quite thin. By this point, Amy claimed to be paralyzed and was relying on her followers to wait on her hand and foot. They even carried her around like she was the Queen of Sheba. For our interview, she wore a bright orange tank top and a rainbow-colored bow on top of her head. It was like something a little girl would wear, not a grown woman in her 40s. And this harkens back to Amy's family, remarking that she seemed almost frozen in time, stuck in a very childlike state. She was a total contradiction. On one hand, there was this sweet-voiced woman who's trying to put her best foot forward in a bid to con me, as well as all the viewers at home, but I knew what she was capable of. I had heard that she scammed people out of money via phony treatments, and that she had even locked someone's child in a closet, a dark closet, as a form of discipline. And while she demanded that others call her mom and mother God, she had chosen to abandon her real-life children. Apparently, one night after dinner, Amy just got up and left, leaving her children to get updates only from the bizarre YouTube videos she posted. And when we talked, Amy's MO, when it came to manipulation, was obvious. She was masterful at shrugging off accusations and never admitting defeat, even when the truth was staring her right in the face. It seems she was so far gone that she truly believed her own absurd propaganda. There were moments, truly, that were saddening. She said that she had been raped multiple times, a horrific, unimaginable trauma, and I truly felt deep compassion for her in that moment. But then she pivoted. Rather than taking any responsibility for how she treated others, she hid behind vague claims of being all about spreading love. She insisted she had no choice but to abandon her children, claiming angels had called her to a higher purpose, and she could not deny their will. Now, Amy was determined to paint herself as the victim. To me, she seemed not just delusional, but deeply paranoid and entirely self-obsessed. And in the last episode, I played a snippet of how Amy was capable of behaving. I mean, just no impulse control. Take a listen to how she reacted when I showed her footage of her outburst in real time. It seems like your tone is not always peaceful with your followers. Let me let you look at this and then you can comment on it.
Kill me! Spiritual ego horse, done! My own light workers, battle me! Serving love! And bringing in a new paradigm, you whores!
Wow. That seems pretty aggressive for someone that's leading the world to love? That seems counterintuitive. You'll have to explain that to me.
I agree with you. It was taken in a moment where a lot of things were happening to me, and I was upset, and I that's how I expressed it.
Now, according to those who knew Amy well, this was a woman whose emotions were just all over the place. She would oscillate between being loving and kind and then screaming and hurling insults. Being around her, people just walked on eggshells because they never knew when she was just going to go off. And you'd think, well, what do you care if she goes off? Well, you care if you have elevated her to some deity position. If you have invested in her that she is the do-all and be-all of everything that matters, then you care what she thinks. You care if you've upset her. And she had a knack for sweeping her mistakes under the rug as though they didn't even exist, because in her mind, she was above criticism. She was, after all, Mother God. This is a classic cult leader manipulation, creating an environment where they are untouchable and everyone else is just a pawn in their game. Coming up, someone like Amy could snag vulnerable people like this into her web of lies. You've heard me talk about Jace Medical. If not, listen up, because they're doing incredible work in medical preparedness. And today, I've got two major updates to share. First up, the ivermectin use case. You've probably seen the headlines calling it a wonder drug. The scientist who discovered it even won a Nobel Prize, and now Jace is offering a 30-day supply at the best price you'll find anywhere. Next, the upgraded Jace case, an emergency supply of antibiotics delivered to your door. They've doubled the number of medications to 10 at just $20 more. And now, the most comprehensive and affordable kit available. Get it before you need it. Don't wait, order today. Visit jace.com and use code PHIL at checkout for a special discount. That's JASE.com, code PHIL. This episode is brought to you by Masa Chips. For decades, chips were fried in tallow until big corporations switched to cheap seed oils. Now, seed oils make up 20% of the average American's daily calories, linked to inflammation and metabolic issues. Masa is bringing back the good stuff with 3 simple ingredients: organic nixtamalized corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. No seed oils, no junk, just a crunchy, sturdy chip that won't break in your guac. Masa Chips is beloved by tens of thousands of customers and has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts like Ben Greenfield and Gary Brecka. Ready to give Masa a try? Go to masachips.com/merit and use code MERIT for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/merit and code MERIT for 25% off your first order. Now, you're sitting there thinking, I'm sure, how do you suck somebody into this? You're thinking, no way would I leave my life, my children, my job, my interests, my hobbies, my life to go follow somebody that's clearly mentally ill. Well, maybe you wouldn't, because you're anchored in your life. You have things you care about that you're invested in. You belong to a family. You belong to a career. You belong to a society, a group, a neighborhood, a church. But understand, not everybody does. Cult leaders are often narcissistic, and they take advantage of those they perceive to be weak individuals, lost and looking for somewhere to fit in. Individuals who join cults are looking for answers to their problems. They're looking for friendship. They're looking for community. They're looking to be part of something bigger than themselves. And they haven't found those things in mainstream society. They've been marginalized. They've been pushed to the side. Many of them feel like outcasts. There's nobody that wants them around. Nobody invites them to anything. Nobody includes them. Nobody wants to spend time with them. And they perceive themselves to be complete misfits. And someone like Amy, with her initially warm personality, could snag vulnerable people like this into her web of lies. That's why I mentioned love bombing earlier during the initial episode, because when you first meet these people, they understand that to sweep you off your feet and get you leaning in to their paradigm, to their group, they've got to overwhelm you. This is the courtship phase. This is like, think about a dating relationship where you're just head over heels in love with somebody, and so you put on the full court press. I mean, you're just all after them. You're sending them flowers. You're calling them. You're texting them. You're showing up. You're just all over them. And that's what a cult does. And if it's somebody that is lonely, nobody's been calling them, nobody's been including them, nobody's interested in what they have to say, nobody's interested in sharing their thoughts with them, and then all of a sudden, here's a whole group of people that makes them feel like they are the most important person in the room, makes them feel like this whole organization has just been waiting for them to come along. The leaders, the ones in power, lavish praise on them, reassure them that they're special and that they can be part of this elite group. They use words like us versus them. They set up that mentality of, come on, man, it's us against the world. Outsiders disagree with our opinions and our way of life. They're against us. They don't understand us, and we want you to be part of us. We're tight, we're thick as thieves, and we've been waiting for you. You know, this creates a special feeling of elitism. When you're in a cult, there's no room for outside opinions. The world just gets smaller and smaller, and it really is them versus us. They don't get it. We get it. And you want to be one of us because we get it. It's the world that's lost, not us. And we just been waiting for you. Boy, I tell you, it can be overwhelming to somebody that's vulnerable and lonely. All of a sudden, it's like they won the lottery. They got attention and love and focus. It can be seductive. Now, while it seemed crystal clear to me that I was dealing with individuals in the grips of a mental crisis, I wanted to be fair and try to represent both sides of the argument here. So I gave two active members of Love Is One, Hope and Aurora, a platform to share their thoughts. Take a listen to what they had to share. So you believe that Amy is Mother God, correct?
Yes, we
Absolutely.
know so.
And what is Mother God to you?
She is everything to us.
I mean, what does Mother God, do you believe that she is God?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So you spend the day in the presence of the deity, of God, the creator of the universe.
Yes.
That must be an amazing experience for you.
It
It
has
is.
been, and yes, it is.
Okay, and she has said that she's done over 100,000 healing sessions, including spiritual surgery, where she can take a brain out spiritually and heal the brain and then put it back in the body spiritually. I mean, she's not saying she actually physically takes the brain out of the skull, correct, Amy?
Yes.
Over 100,000 times.
I've done it over 100,000 sessions, yes.
Okay.
Probably more than that.
That must drain you something terrible.
It takes a lot of work, but I have a lot of energy, despite my condition.
And how long does something like that take?
Anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on what I'm doing.
And Hope, Aurora, have you all been there for this? Have you seen these miracles happen?
Yeah.
We have seen it, yes.
Soak that up for a minute. As these two women sat on camera looking at me with these glazed over expressions, smiling and calmly telling me they believe that Amy is God and that she has healed multiple people via some sort of transformative brain mumbo jumbo, it struck me how dire this situation was. These young women were utterly convinced of Amy's mission. They were proud to be part of it. Even when I attempted to gently challenge them, laying out what I think almost anybody would believe to be logical arguments, that it would be impossible for Amy to have performed all of those healings she claimed to have done in such a short time frame, they just looked at me like, you moron, you just don't get it. In the face of facts, they just remained defiant. They knew this woman was constantly drinking, yet they continued to proclaim during our interview that she was their savior and the embodiment of Mother Earth. So think about what they're saying. We know she's a drunk. We just believe that God Almighty stumbles around drunk. Really? You saw them? These are young, intelligent, healthy, vibrant women. They said, yeah, God's stumbling around drunk. God yells and screams and cusses and degrades people. It's also interesting to note that Amy blamed her so-called paralysis on the idea that she was too giving to others. According to Amy, her generosity of healing people and spreading her so-called divine energy was literally draining the life out of her. It seemed to me it was yet another ploy to convince others she was a saintly being making the ultimate sacrifice, when in reality it was a con to make people feel like they were indebted to her for her kindness, that she's just like, I'm so giving of myself, my life energy is being drained. But, that's just the kind of martyr I am. That's just how much I give. Don't worry about me. Just as long as I'm saving others. Which, think about it. If she's 19 billion years old and has given birth to every living creature, seems to me should be a little more durable. Coming up, when former Love Is One member Ashley sat down with me, she was ready to expose the tribe's deception and highly abusive behavior. After decades of treasured experiences and cherished moments, living your best life matters more than ever. Whether it's cheering on your grandchildren at their baseball games, planting new flowers in your yard, or simply spending quality time with loved ones, take Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements along with you. Made from ingredients of 31 whole fruits and vegetables, they are free from added fillers or binders. Embrace life's adventures with confidence, knowing you're getting a wide and colorful variety of ingredients made from whole fruits and vegetables every step of the way. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get a free fiber and spice supplement, plus 35% off your first preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Dr. Phil. That's DRPHIL. The way Amy and her two followers never faltered in their deranged narrative is a prime example of what most people call brainwashing, and this us versus them mentality you see in cults. And often the more you try to challenge members, the more they dig in their heels. It's a psychological grip that's incredibly tough to break, something we call confirmation bias. When somebody is so convicted of something and you bring them irrefutable evidence to the contrary, you would think, okay, they're not going to be able to deal with this one. It just causes them to deepen their beliefs. Why? Because when you show them something that is factually contradictory, they have to double down. Because if not, everything they've been through, everything they've done is for naught. Let me give you a real world example that might be more easily understood. When you see young people pledge a fraternity or sorority at a university, and they go through hazing, and I'm not even talking about brutal or cruel hazing, but they go through all of these rituals to become part of it. What that does is create tremendous loyalty to the fraternity or the sorority. Now, why is that? Think about the alternative. They've been dragged out of bed at 2 a.m. and they're doing calisthenics in a parking lot in February in their underwear, freezing their niblets off, or they're having to drink hot sauce, or they're wearing a beanie around campus to be humiliated. If this isn't a great organization to make all of that worthwhile, then wouldn't they feel pretty stupid for having done all of that? So the only way they don't feel stupid for having done all of that is it's got to be a great organization that made it all worthwhile. Because if it's not, they were pretty stupid. So they have to convince themselves that it's a fabulous organization. The alternative is, how dumb am I? So they all get together and decide this is great. When you're talking about something like a cult, it's that times 100 or 1,000. You've given up your life. You've sold all of your worldly possessions and given the money to the cult. You've left your family. You've left your children. You've left your job. And now you're just like a lackey. You're just going around in the service of somebody else. You have to decide this must be a spectacular organization and some kind of higher being, or you must be a complete moron. So the further you get in, the more you have to convince yourself that this is something special. Now, we know that people do find the capacity to escape these situations, and some people were waking up and seeing that breaking free from Amy's clutches was a matter of life and death. But first, what exactly was going on within the confines of this cult? On site in Crestone, Colorado, Amy lived with a core group somewhere between 12 and 20 members tucked away from society. They cultivated an online presence, making their living by posting daily streams on YouTube, the mission being to recruit members and get donations, while they also sold supplements and other mystical products. One of their biggest draws was a service that they claimed rid bodies of illness and negative energy. This was textbook charlatan behavior, a full-blown scam, plain and simple. This wasn't new. Think back to the Old West. You used to have these guys going around in wagons selling this elixir. You know, hey, drink this and it'll cure whatever ails you. It was the old medicine show. And when former Love Is One member Ashley sat down with me, she didn't hold back. She was ready to expose the tribe's deception and reveal what she said was highly abusive behavior. Former member Ashley says she fled Love Has One without any of her belongings after she finally reached her breaking point with this group. Take a look.
I first learned about Love Has One through an online Facebook page. I made the decision to go and visit them. When I got there, it was a beautiful ranch. Amy's the main leader. I did believe that she was God while I was there. And the first day I was there, somebody was sent away. So right off the bat, I was a little confused about what I was getting myself involved in. I was told that I was embodying different lower energies and that I had to transform them. You had to follow all of the rules. You stayed up till at least midnight. You wake up at 5, no exceptions, every day. You're not supposed to sit. They claimed that if you weren't in motion, that you were taking energy from Mother God. You'd have very limited sleep. I do see it as an attempt to brainwash. It was sleep deprivation, mental manipulation. I was not allowed to see Mother God the first 2 weeks that I was there. They claimed that I had to reach a higher vibration of energy before I could visit Mother God. When I did go in to see Mother God for the first time, it was odd to see someone frail in a bed in front of you. She says that she's paralyzed. She had been carried from the bed to the toilet. She never left her room. I do feel Amy has a drinking problem. She consumed beer all day long. Amy would perform what she expressed was an etheric surgery. She did claim that she could remove tumors, kidney failure. She would gather funds through performing these surgeries. I've heard talk about money in certain accounts. I was blown away. She claimed in one of them was over $400,000. And another one I heard was $100,000. I do think Amy's running a scam. 2 months into being with the group, I left all my belongings behind. I kind of made a quick getaway. When I got in the plane to come home, everything hit me all at once, like a ton of bricks. Wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be at all. It's way more extreme. I feel this is a dangerous group to anybody's mental health.
Interesting how almost as soon as this woman arrived on the premises, she felt in her gut that something was way off, that this wasn't the tranquil refuge she had been hoping for. And note, the Love Has One crew immediately told Ashley what she needed to change and adjust her energy frequency, enforcing the idea that something was wrong with her. These types of people thrive on breaking others down and causing low self-esteem so they can remain in control. And the money Amy and her group wanted to charge in exchange for their fake cures, it is astonishing. I was impressed by Ashley's strength in knowing she had to get out. Why did you feel the need to leave quickly, leave all your belongings behind, and bail without notice?
Well, once I realized that they were using mental manipulation and sleep deprivation, things like that, pitting us against each other, I realized that it was something that was going to be more mentally straining for me to stay and tell them, hey, I would like to leave. I felt like at that point, since I had been there with sort of my family, that it would have been easier for me to just make a quick getaway and not tell anybody, because once you leave, a couple of the members that have left ended up in danger.
Ended up in danger how?
I know one of the members ended up being found near death.
Amy, do you use sleep deprivation and mental manipulation as is being said here?
Absolutely, that is incorrect. Do I have boundaries for energetic? Yes. And the whole team can adhere to them or not. There's no, like, you have to do that.
I saw video evidence of a man literally being forcefully woken up by a fellow cult member and forbidden to sleep when he was clearly just bone tired. He was threatened that Amy, aka Mama, was going to be told about his disobedience and that she was going to be angry. It was no surprise to me that when I brought this up to Amy, she once again shirked responsibility, only too happy to turn the focus back to her ailments.
It's energetics and it's consciousness, and a lot of beings are not utilizing their sleep properly. So I just set up boundaries so that everyone knew that, and they all take naps.
Uh-huh. You say that you're paralyzed now, correct?
That's correct.
So you can't.
And I have 5-stage level of cancer as well. 100% full body.
You have stage 5 cancer.
Yes.
And what is stage 5 cancer?
That's to the bones.
You can't heal that?
I have made all my attempts to do that for myself, and that's why I'm here in Hawaii, to really focus in on that and do that for myself.
I was just relieved that in the midst of all this madness, Ashley and some of the others had managed to break free and get the help they so desperately needed. That is absolutely critical. You have to remove yourself from a system that's holding you down, especially when the person pulling the strings is so irrational they become a danger, not just to you, but to everyone around them. And if you don't think it can get out of control, I brought in a leading cult expert, Rick Allen Ross, and here's what he had to say on the matter.
Well, Dr. Phil, I think what you just saw is a beautiful example, or a disturbing example, of cognitive dissonance, which is when people who have accepted something as fact are confronted with disconfirmation. That is, they're confronted with the videos of Mother God, and it is in contradiction to love. It looks like someone who has lost love, not someone who has love. And so rather than deal with that reality that these women are being confronted by, they spin it and they rationalize it. And then in the group environment, they reinforce it so that they can believe it.
In our next episode, we'll uncover the shocking final chapter of Amy Carlson's story. Her time spent in Hawaii, the disturbing deterioration of her body, and the circumstances of her death that led to the arrest of 7 of her loyal followers. Now, when you're thinking about this, you may be thinking, talking about 12 or 20 people doesn't seem like that big a deal for Rick Ross to say one of the most dangerous cults ever. You have to remember the online presence of this toxic ideology spreading all around the world. That's all coming up in the next installment of Mystery and Murder. I'm Dr. Phil.